Hello, my name is Jimmy Major. I'm a financial aid manager at Northern Virginia Community College, and today I'm going to introduce you to the world of financial aid and how it can help you and your family pay for college. I want you and your family to walk away from this having a better understanding of what type of aid is available to students, who can apply for it, and what the application process looks like. But before we jump into those specifics, I did want to talk a little bit about the different costs associated with attending college. If you're just starting your college search, you'll notice that some schools are much more expensive than other schools. Private schools are usually quite expensive. Then you've got public schools, where the option of in-state tuition can save families a lot of money. And then there's the option of community college, where students can complete their first 2 years of their degree for just a fraction of the cost. What you will also notice is that some schools have a lot more free money to give away than other schools. Some of those more expensive private colleges might have a lot more to offer in terms of financial aid and scholarships when compared to some of those state schools, especially when considering a student's GPA or family income. So it's important never to rule out a school just because initially it looks too expensive, because financial aid can really make a big difference. When you look at tuition for a school, their sticker price, which is the average cost of attendance at that institution per year, is often not the true amount the families will have to pay. Any college that offers federal financial aid is required to have something called a net price calculator on their website. This net price calculator is meant to show families not only what the sticker price is per year at that college, but what they would actually pay out of pocket each year once you account for the financial aid that that school can offer you. Families can use this tool, which will ask for some basic information about their income, savings, and family size, to provide them with an estimate of the true costs. However, the most accurate numbers are going to come from your financial aid offer letter that you receive at the college. To get that, the first step would be out the FAFSA application. The FAFSA application is the free application for federal student aid. Families will fill this out each year to see what financial aid they qualify for the upcoming year. The FAFSA application opens up on October 1st of each year, so students will want to fill this out for the first time starting their senior year in high school. It's important to fill this application out as early as possible. Some schools will have some very early deadlines to apply for financial aid. Most financial aid deadlines are February or March, but if you're applying early admission or early decision, they could be as early as November. The FAFSA is the application for need-based financial aid. So there's two types of financial aid, need-based and merit-based. Need-based financial aid will look at a family's income, savings, and family size to determine their eligibility. Merit-based aid looks at merit, so GPA, class rank, or other talents or accomplishments. Even if a family thinks that they might not be eligible for need-based aid just because of their income, I still recommend filling out the FAFSA application that first year. Some students might not be considered for merit-based aid if they haven't filled a FAFSA application out. So by filling it out, at least that puts you on the school's radar for any potential money that might be available. To be eligible for federal financial aid, a student must be a citizen or an eligible non-citizen. An eligible non-citizen is a student who has permanent resident status, approved asylum or refugee status, or a student holding a T visa or VAWA status, which is the Violence Against Women Act. Also eligible will be any citizens of the Federated States of Micronesia, Marshall Islands, or the Republic of Palau. You can start the FAFSA application by visiting www.studentaid.gov. And the first step is going to be to apply to create an FSA ID. An FSA ID is a username and password combination that students and parents will use to sign and submit the FAFSA application. Both the student and one parent will need to create their own individual FSA ID. Make sure that when you're creating your FSA ID, you enter your name exactly how it appears on your Social Security card. Any mismatch might cause a delay in your application being received by the school. If your parent does not have a Social Security number, they cannot create their own FSA ID. However, they can still assist you with the FAFSA application. They would just need to print a signature page at the end of the application so that they can sign manually and mail that page to the Department of Education for processing. Families will need their tax returns, W-2 forms, and information regarding their current savings and investments to fill out the application. Be sure to confirm which tax year's return the application is asking for. If you're starting college for the first time in the fall of 2022, you'll be completing the 2022-2023 FAFSA using your 2020 tax return. When it comes time to enter your financial information into the application, families will be prompted to use the IRS data retrieval tool to transfer all their tax and income information from the IRS website into the FAFSA. This is a secure way to transfer your tax information into the application and ensure that everything is correct. However, not all information needed will transfer over, so it is still important to have your tax return, your W-2 forms with you when you sit down to complete this. The FAFSA will not ask about traditional retirement accounts, such as a 401k or Roth IRA, nor will it ask about the value of your home. You would potentially need to provide information about any other savings or investments you have, though, including 529 plans or any second homes or rental properties that you do have. A student can enter up to 10 colleges on their FAFSA. Every college has their own individual school code, which you can find on that college's website. You can enter these school codes on the FAFSA to send your results to the college of your choice. Once you submit your FAFSA application, you'll receive your EFC, or your expected family contribution. This EFC is an index number that financial aid staff will use to determine how much aid you can receive if you were to attend their school. The way it works is financial aid staff will use your cost of attendance at that school, which would include tuition, room and board, and any other costs that are built in. Then they would subtract your EFC number from their cost of attendance. This shows how much financial need you have and how much need-based aid you could potentially receive at their school. For example, if a college's cost of attendance is $50,000 and your family has an EFC of $30,000, it means that potentially you could receive up to $20,000 in need-based financial aid. After submitting your FAFSA, you are then waiting for your financial aid award letter to come in. And award letters are usually received at the same time or shortly after your acceptance letter. On your award letter, you'll be able to see what types of aid that you're offered at each school. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of aid that might be available to you. If you see grant money on your award letter, that's a good thing. Grant money is a type of aid that does not have to be repaid. Grant money can come from the federal government, the state, or the college. State money and institutional money can run out quickly, which is one of the reasons why it's very important to apply early to meet any priority deadlines that college might have for financial aid. Some colleges might have additional applications that you need to complete in order to be considered for their institutional funds. We'll talk about those applications in just a bit. Another type of aid is a work-study award. Work-study is a part-time job at the college. Students can accept this award to find a campus job and work to earn money for college. This money can be paid directly towards tuition or as a paycheck to the student. It can be different college to college. Students that indicate on their FAFSA that they are interested in the work-study program would be offered a work-study award, but they don't have to accept it. If a student decides that they don't want to work on campus, they can simply decline that offer. Student loans are money that do have to be repaid. When a student applies for FAFSA, they would also be offered a Stafford loan. This is a loan that would need to be paid by the student. A Stafford loan can be subsidized or unsubsidized. A subsidized loan is subsidized by the government while the student's in school, so the government pays the interest for the student. The student would start paying interest on the loan once they graduate. An unsubsidized loan does start accruing interest while the student is in school that the student is responsible for paying. You also might see additional loans on your award letter that are offered to a parent. It's important to be sure that you understand who is responsible for paying back this loan and what that interest rate is. Parent loans and student loans have different interest rates and repayment options, but they should be clearly detailed on your award letter. Any loan that you're not interested in, you can simply decline. The last type of aid that you might see on your award letter would be a scholarship. Most scholarships are merit-based, but they can also be need-based as well. They might come directly from the college that you choose, which should be listed on your award letter, but they can come from anywhere, your high school, community organizations. Make sure that you're talking with your high school counselors about scholarship possibilities in this area. Some scholarships are renewable and can be received each year. Some might just be a one-time award. Scholarships, along with most types of aid, will likely require that students maintain a certain GPA while in college. This is also something that you'd want to confirm with the financial aid office if it's not clearly listed on your award letter. I mentioned earlier that some schools might require additional financial aid applications to apply for their college-specific funding. The CSS Profile is a good example of this. Many private schools will require families to complete this application in addition to the FAFSA. This CSS Profile also opens up every October 1st, and it can be found on a student's College Board account. It has an application fee of $25 and then an additional cost of $16 per school that you list. It'll also ask for a lot more information than the FAFSA application. This application will look at financial information that the FAFSA does not look at, such as retirement and the value of your home, so you do want to make sure that you set aside some time to go through this application. Remember, not all colleges will need this additional application. It should be clearly listed on the financial aid section of their website if you need to complete the FAFSA or the FAFSA and the CSS Profile. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information, so let me recap some important things to remember. 1, make sure you fill out the FAFSA application early. It opens up every October 1st. Schools do have early deadlines, and you don't want to miss out on any free money that might be out there. If you need help with it, talk with your high school counselors. FAFSA workshops are offered to help walk families through this application. 2, be sure to list all colleges that you are considering on the FAFSA. You can always come back to your FAFSA later after it's been submitted to add more schools if necessary. Lastly, be sure to monitor your email for any communications from your college. Families can be selected for a verification process of their FAFSA, where the college might need to collect a copy of your tax returns or W-2s just to confirm your eligibility. Sometimes this is because of a discrepancy or mistake on your application. Other times it might be a random process. However, any delay in getting your college this requested documentation could delay your award letter. If you have any questions about the application or your award letter, be sure to ask. There's tons of resources in the high school that are available to you, and it's always better to make sure you have the correct information rather than guessing. Thanks a lot for listening. Again, my name is Jimmy Major, and I hope this was helpful.